Alright, YouTubers, welcome back. My name's Dave.
Oh, that sucks, dude.
Like always, and you found do it yourself. Do it right. You can have your very own hat if you like. Just go down in the description below. Order you up one. Don't know how long it'll take to get there to you, but you'll get it. Today got some more work to do on the blue Honda CB360. As you can probably already hear, I got the old ultrasonic cleaner already fired up, already working on some stuff. So let's get into it. All right, so the last video on this bike that I did, bringing this old girl back around, she sat in my garage for a few years while I was up in New York, and you know, she's a little worse for wear. Some things went wrong with it. Told the girlfriend not to ride it. Regulator rectifier and whatnot went bad. So last video where I left off, got the carburetors on, got the bike fired up. If you want to hear it run, check that video out. That's pretty much all I got done. My plan was to get the regulator rectifier changed out, and I did. I just did that off camera. It's pretty self-explanatory. Your regulator rectifier plugs into your wiring harness, and then you know, a little black wire. So mine was a little different, and I didn't want to show it on camera because not everyone has the same setup as this one. This bike has a Rix stator and had a Rix regulator rectifier, so it's wired up a little differently. And I don't want to confuse anybody if they're just going from a stock stator with a stock regulator and rectifier, because that could get confusing. So I had to do a little bit of wiring here, wiring there, a little different for mine. So I didn't really want to show you that. Just know that it's in and it's wired up and it's working. Got the lights going and everything. It's not blowing bulbs. That's a plus. So I got a list of other stuff. The tank, got that soaking. The petcock, which is in the old ultrasonic cleaner. I got to work on the front brake, and I got battery on the list. I was able to bring the battery around enough to where I can use my jumper box, and it's enough to keep the bike going. Eventually I'll buy a whole new battery, slip down in there, so the electric start and all that other good stuff will work the way it's supposed to. This bike runs so well that I could kickstart it, and it's not that big a deal. Right at this moment, I just have the battery in there to complete the circuit so I can keep going, testing, tuning. I do need to order some parts because I realized that I forgot to order the little cover that covers this, and when I had it running the other day, I could feel the suction, so that means you're losing vacuum. The engine's not running to its top level peak performance. Not to mention, I still need to do a carb sync. I'm not going to do all that until I get that covered up, until I get all the rest of the stuff buttoned up, and then I'll do a carb sync. I have videos. If you're at a carb sync point, I have a video. I'll link it. You'll see the link above if you're on your cell phone. If you're on your TV, sorry, you won't see it, but you can find it on my channel. It's in my playlist, CB360 playlist. Pretty easy, just as long as you have the right tools and the right, you know, gauges to do a carb sync. It's not rocket science. So let's hop on to this brake. Let's make a mess, get some brake fluid all over the place. I'm gonna move my nice Harley out of the way because this job is not fun. It's messy. You're gonna get brake fluid all over the place. Probably gonna eat the paint off my brand new lift. So that's always something to look forward to. And I don't want it to eat the paint off my nice Harley. So I'm gonna get all set up, and then I'll explain to you what I'm gonna do. So before I get going on this here brake, I want to explain to y'all what's happening. The brake is hanging up, meaning when I'm moving the bike around, I can feel there's resistance on the front brake. It's, you know, the forks are dipping down. you know, I made the mistake of grabbing the front brake, and then that's when it started to stay grabbed. So what that means to me is that the fluid is going down into the piston, into the caliper here, and the piston is squishing over, but there's probably a bunch of corrosion, a bunch of gunk in there, not allowing that piston to relax. So it'll release off the front wheel, off the front brake. It's a common thing with these bikes. It happens all the time when you let them sit. It's one of the reasons why I like the old school mechanical drum front brake. A lot of people say you got better stopping power with the disc brake, whatever. I mean, these bikes don't go that fast. I don't really think a disc brake is all that necessary, but whatever. So the way you get that caliper out, that piston, that puck, I have one over here. I got a brand new one. I can show you what it is. The way you get this guy out, now this is for a 750. I was hoping that it was going to fit. It's a CB450 to 750. So this one's probably going to be too big for this one. But what this does is it pushes it, and then the surface area around gets corroded, gets nasty, and you got to clean it up. You got to clean the inside of that out. So the way you get that out is you take the two bolts that hold the whole caliper on, pull the caliper off, and then you got to use the brake to push that piston out. So you got to push the brake, the piston moves out. Make sure you don't run out of fluid up there. You got to put extra fluid into your reservoir up there, and you push it in. You keep going, and finally it'll work that little piston out, and it'll pop out. It's gonna make a mess, and then you can clean it up, and then you got to go back and you got to, you know, re-bleed your brakes. So it's messy. It's not good. It's not a good job, but it's fairly easy, and I'm trying to get it set up to where I mitigate the mess. I've done this a couple of times, as you could tell. Don't mind the pink and white drapery that I got from the house in New York. So I'm gonna set you guys up on a time lapse. I'm gonna show you basically do it, and then once I get to the point to where it's popping out and I'll show you where to clean, I'll bring you back. So it looks like I've already changed this piston, which I don't remember doing, but I have done a lot of work to this bike. I've redone all the seals, so maybe I did. It is not corroded, but I will show you what was hanging up. It's kind of nice. Kind of kicked myself in the butt. I should have just stopped where I was, because I did look in there. So if you look at this brake, that is what was hanging it up. Look at all that corrosion. So that's definitely got to get cleaned. I don't have any more brake discs. It's not that big a deal. It's just, you know, this is just the elbow grease. Cleaning it up, getting it all nice and shiny, putting it all back in there, squishing it all back, and then just bleeding the brake again. It's really not that bad. It's just kind of dirty and messy. Like I said, I've gotten pretty good at it. I've done a bunch of them now. So let me go ahead and clean this up, and I'll show you how good it looks when I'm done. All right, so a couple things to look out for. Cleaning this out while it's still on the bike is a little difficult. I got a little drill with a metal brush, and then I got some red scratchy pad. Get it up in there. Make sure it's nice and clean. No corrosion. Make sure that your O-ring is still in place up inside of there. Otherwise, you'll be gushing. You'll be gushing brake fluid all over the place. Take some brake fluid that's dripping out, because I keep the reservoir full, so it's easier on the whole brake bleeding process. Kind of gotta get the puck back up in there nice and nice and square. I might push fluid out because I might have too much in here, so that's not good. Soak some of this fluid up. I have some rags up here just because I don't like getting brake fluid everywhere. Eats everything up, so I got that pushed in there. I know I'm gonna jam air up in there. I'm gonna loosen the servicing port right here. Hopefully that air will come up out of here rather than go up into the brake reservoir. Pop her open. All right, let's push without overflowing the reservoir. All right, so that's all the way in. All the way in. I did not overflow, which is good. I want to fill it up. I do have a pneumatic brake servicing unit where you hook it up and it sucks the fluid down and around and does its thing. But if you don't have it, you could do it the old school way. That's the way I'm going to do it. Once I get all this stuff put back together, I gotta remember this little washer doodad goes in there. It just sits in there like so, pushes it up in there. You can see the little cutout thing here goes to the top. There's like a little pin right there. It's like a guide. Let me get some brake fluid, I guess, and rub around there. It'll lubricate it a little bit. I just cleaned this up. You can see how nice and shiny it is. Again, I just took my drill, my little wire wheel brushes, hit it, and then I hit it with some scratchy pad again, and nice and clean. That piston slid right in nice and easy, and just like this brake slides right in. That's the way it's supposed to be.
That's what she said.
Should not have to force it out like you do if it's messed up with the brake. That piston you have to force out, but that brake should have just pulled right out, and I couldn't get it out. So, all right, now we're just gonna put it back up in there. You can see how much brake is left by looking at the inside. A lot of brake pad left on this one. Here's your red line right there. So we got lots of brake left, which is good. Mary Beth doesn't, you know, she's not hard on the motorcycle brake. She might be hard on her Subaru brakes, but not too hard on the motorcycle brakes. Get these big old bolts lined back up. These suckers were tight. I had to get my extended ratchet out, bust those suckers loose. They shouldn't have been that tight. I don't know what happened there. We're just gonna tighten it down with this. Give her a little pat pat, little pat 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 pat. God damn. With that, all right, yeah, we got fluid bubbling out already. Let me I got a piece of hose already ready. Jam it down on there. And then, you know the brake bleeding deal. You have it open, squish it, try to get all the air out of it, let it up. Usually I can just kind of hold this straight up because it's not not a lot of fluid in the system. You know what I mean? Usually if you press it and hold it, you can see the air bubble up. Let's turn it down a little bit so it's a little tighter. All right, now we'll just barely crack it. It'll bubble up, and then you can let the bubbles come to the top and then let off your handle. When you push the handle in, you don't want to let the handle right back out because it's going to suck that air right back in there. You want to get all of the air out. Let's give it a whirl, see if it'll work. You can see air bubbles bubbling out already. Let's go real slow. Look at all that air coming out of there. Real slow, like. Slow pushing it in. Hold it. Let it out, and it sucks it right back down. See how it sucked the fluid right back down in there? It's no different than bleeding brakes on a car. You're just doing each wheel separately. Let me make sure how much fluid I got in the reservoir. It's pretty full. Let's do it again. Let's see how much air we can get out of here. Squish it again, nice and slow. Like no air come out of it that time. Let it back down. Let it suck that fluid back down. And then you just keep going until you feel like you got all the air out of it. See all that air? Bubbled up. I pushed it a little faster that time.
One eternity later.
So I got most of the air out, hopefully, after about 20 minutes of pumping, filling, emptying, pumping, filling, emptying. So now what I got is I got the front end of the bike up. So the wheel is nice and loose. And I'm going to test the brake. Just going to grab the brake. All right, stops it. It lets up. Try it again. Moving. Brakes. I mean, it locks it up good. I got good handle over here. Not a lot of play in the handle. Let me make sure that my fluid's not too low, which it's not. I still got the cap off from it, just so I can keep an eye on it. I got stuff at the tire rubbing up all over everything, seems like. Alright, so we're going.
Oh, God damn it!
Gone. Front wheel's turning. Hit the brake, stops, lets up. Just a little bit of brake. Okay, just a little bit of handle. Alright, now you're really... Alright, so you... Alright, I think we got her licked. Have rags bountiful while you're doing this job. Told you, it was messy. Don't have anything good around. Good thing this bike needs a wash, because I definitely got brake fluid all over the place. I got oil dripping out everywhere. Got fuel that I spilt. So this bike is definitely going to get a wash with some super clean, some degreaser that I got over there. If you guys ain't seen my super cleaning videos, go ahead and check them out. You know, they send me free product to try. It's nice of them. I use it. It's good stuff. It works for what I'm doing. I cleaned up that handlebar mess and then forgot that I'm going to have a mess right here. I've already tightened down the bleeder, but as you can see, there's still fluid in the tube. So what you just got to rip the Band-Aid off and then soak it up as much as you can. And I know that I did brakes on this last time. I should have known, because I put the little rubber cap back on the bleeder. I think I bought the whole kit, the whole servicing kit for the master up there also. I guess I should have known that all I had to do was pop that brake out. But it's good to show you guys how to, pop that brake piston out. It's good to do every once in a while. It's been probably 3 years since I did it. And I probably wouldn't have had to do it if the bike didn't sit. So, go ahead and cinch cinch the tire back down. I do have it on a stand over here, so it's not going to go anywhere. But let's scratch the old front brake off the list over here. Now we just got to wait for the fuel tank, which that'll be tomorrow. Unfortunately, gotta wait. Gotta learn patience, I guess. See you tomorrow. So the tank has a couple of days worth of evaporust soaking. I just kind of lost track and whatever. So you can kind of see, maybe you can see that it's shiny metal right there, but you can also see that I used it and I cleaned up the cap right here. And then you can see the line of rust where the you know, the evaporust was you know, all the way to the top. So you can see how well it's cleaned that up. So it says it's reusable, so I'm going to do my best to get it out of the tank back into the containers so I can use it again. Probably gonna get it all over everything, but at least I can salvage some of it. So I'm gonna set you up maybe over there, you know, far away. I want splashage. I'm gonna put some gloves on because I don't want that stuff on my hands. So let's see if we can see some crap coming out of there. I'm guessing it's going to be pretty nasty, especially after what the petcock was, you know, cleaning this petcock. I actually took a petcock out of my stock over there, the body, because that other petcock was so gummed up. It's actually still sitting in the cleaner fluid stuff in the ultrasonic cleaner because it was so gummed up. But let's get this evaporust out of the tank and get the tank flushed out. I think the best way to do this is, well, okay, well, I guess it's already leaking. I guess I just ripped it. I did. I ripped a hole in the glove. Ha! Hey, ready? Okay. Maybe if I can get a pair of scissors, I can cut it and maybe get a little bit more flow in. Ooh, here we go. This is not going to be good when this one gets full, so then I gotta switch the funnel. Oh, no, no, no. I probably should have just went straight to that rather than trying to flip it over. Well, now it's all over my leg. There were a bunch of chunks that came out, but I can see a bunch of chunks left in there. I don't think the tank was lined, so I'm going to take it over to the hose. I mean, it's much cleaner than it was. I'm going to take it over to the hose. I'm going to hose it out and just run the water to it. It does say to flush it good with water. I'm going to flush it with water, try to get all the rest of the remnants out of it, and hopefully, oh yeah, here we go. We're gonna leak all over the place again. Yep, just cleaned up the floor. It's always a process. So I'm gonna take the hose, spray it in there for a bunch of time, and hopefully I can get a lot of that gunk out of there, because I don't want to run fuel filters on these bikes, because whenever you run a fuel filter on a CB360, it always seems to starve for gas. So I'm going to do my best to rinse it out, and hopefully it's good enough. With all the water, you can tell that I was out here for about 30 minutes just flushing and dumping, flushing and dumping. I want to show you the remnants. It's like a whole layer flaked off on the inside of that tank, and you can see it all right here, all that is a layer of rust. Super thin. It just disintegrates. And you can see it like leaves like the varnish on your gloves. It's all over here. It's all down there. It was just coming out. Just puking it out. You want to see the tank? I got it in here. I can look in there and I can see a little bit more of the flaking where it's exfoliating, but for the most part, like you can see down in there, that's nice, and the backbone part of it's nice and clean. It's really hard to videotape, but I have to say that I think I'm a believer in the old Evapo rust. I didn't think about it. I never really paid too close attention. I've always done the nuts and bolts and throw a bunch of them in there and shake them around, get it cleaned out that way. But just letting the Evapo rust sit, if you have the time, seems to work real well. Clean that one up real nice. I have another blue one up there. There, you can see it. It is nasty on the inside. So maybe I will try that same technique, because that's the paint. I saved it because of the paint. It's original blue. It's not terrible. Just the inside of the tank is pretty disgusting. So this, it wouldn't match with the side covers because this one has been repainted. This is actually a sticker on the side of this one. You can look up in there and see that it's been repainted, which is fine. It's, you know, it's pretty looking. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that in front of the fan to try and get that to dry out before I actually put it back on the bike. I also want to test this petcock before I throw it on the bike. Make sure it's not going to leak, because I don't really have high hopes for it. I'm not sure why I had it in my stock, but I might have to just go ahead and buy a petcock. So I'm going to let that dry out before I put any kind of gas in it. Oh, you know, gas and water don't mix. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let it sit and let it dry out. And I'll probably bring you back tomorrow morning. Hopefully it'll be nicer, sunnier, warmer, because it's kind of chilly right now. So it's the next day. The tank did do some flash rusting overnight. It's pretty much dry. I would say it's 95% dry on the inside. I just don't want to wait any longer. I don't have high hopes. If I said this yesterday, I'm sorry. I don't really have high hopes for this petcock to seal properly. So I'm just going to slap it up in there, tighten it down, and then put some gas in there. And I want to swoosh the gas around to keep it from flash rusting even more. And to test this petcock, I have a feeling that it's going to leak all over the place. So let's go ahead and knock this out. Got my Alabama socket set ready. I've been calling that ever since my platoon sergeant called it that when I was in the Army. Just thought it was funny. Kind of picked it up from him. He, I don't think he was from Alabama. I don't really know where he's from. It's kind of sad. I know he's in Texas now, so I just don't know where he was from. All right, that's tight. Oh, that should be off. Probably. I'm gonna make a mess. If that leaks, anyways. Let's move the swing arm out of the way. I gotta put that in the shed. Put that down there. Let's put that there like so. Let's get some gas and whoosh, whoosh. Put it in there, swish it around. It's kind of nice. A lot of the gas stations around here now have ethanol-free gas. I guess people were complaining enough that their lawnmowers and whatnot were not acting right, and after a year of the gas sitting, that's probably enough for right now. You know, the gas terms. So a lot of the gas stations, they don't have ethanol-free options. Okay. Well, it's venting. Oh, yep, look at that.
God damn it.
Blowing out of there. Ay, ay, ay. Where's the key? It's coming out of there all viciously. It's running straight out of there. Which I kind of had the feeling. And out of there, I was pointing, you probably couldn't see. Out of there means where that little rubber selector thing is in there. It just didn't feel tight. You know, you can kind of feel it when it's right, and it's just really loose.
No shit, Sherlock.
Wonder if I can put another one of those flexi washers in there. You know, there's like a spring-loaded washer that goes in between there. Wonder if I put two, if that'll take up the space. The trials and tribulations. I would just go ahead and buy another petcock, and I'm probably gonna end up doing that. I also got to order some parts. So this bike is not going to be out on the street in this video. I was hoping I could get it out on the street, but it's just there's just too many things with it. This is that flexi bendy washer I was telling you about. It sits on here and it creates pressure and it holds it down. And it just, I don't know, man. I just don't think it's holding it down tight enough. If I could get two of them, that could work, maybe. I'm gonna dig in my stock of stuff over there, see if I got another one. Maybe I got one that's not, maybe it's stronger. I don't know. We'll see. So I got a couple of different options. I have a different faceplate on off. I have other ones that are smaller. I think those are 175 petcock parts. That's another bendy washer. I'm not so certain that O-ring was in there correctly, so I moved it around. It's got 4 holes. You know, you gotta make sure you got the right holes in the right spot.
Uh-huh. And how long have you thought that?
The whole time. I've thought that the whole time.
I don't know why they just don't make it with 3 holes. Yeah, like that's XL 175 parts. I miss that little bike. That was a fun little bike. Alright, let's tighten this thing down. See if this feels any better. Maybe seals up a little better. That, the faceplate, it's a little skinnier. I don't know if it's an aftermarket one or not. Let's give her the old, oh yeah, that's way tighter. That's like way, maybe too tight. Losing her off there a little bit. Petcocks, they're a pain. I'm gonna put a little bit of Vaseline on this guy here, little face. Maybe it'll help it slide a little easier on that O-ring. Maybe it'll seal it up a little bit too. You never can tell. Hopefully that'll seal her up. Let's put the key over here before I lose it. Let's pick up all these parts. Like I you know, bowls, levers, little washers, screws, anything basically that I could possibly use. I save it. You guys probably do the same thing. So let's flip her down. Let's get the gas over here on this side of the tank. Alright, well, I don't see any leaks. Reserve, nothing. Full on, okay. Oh, there we go, now we got some fuel flowing. That was reserve, so that should be off completely. I'm gonna dump some more fuel in there. Wasted good fuel, you know. Check for leaks. Could have bought the cheap old 89. Well, if nothing else, it's coated. So it's not leaking. There's no drips. And then it just dripped. But I would say that's off, even though it just had one drip. So we're going to turn it on. Which on is not going to give us any because that tube is real high. And we're going to go to reserve. Just make sure, okay, we got fuel flow in there. All right, there we go. Now it's coming out of both. I don't want to waste too much gas. This doesn't, you know, $3 a gallon. No sense of wasting too much. All right, I think it's, I think I got her lit. Tank's going back on the bike. If you stuck with me, you'll know that I rerouted some of this wiring. So hopefully I didn't reroute any in the way of the tank going back on. Drop her down, push it forward, nestle it into place. I think it's where it needs to be. Check the other side right quick like. Looks good, looks further up on the rubber. This tank has never really sat on here nice and flat. I think it's a little cockeyed. It looks nice up here. I don't have any, well, we're getting a little bit of a drip. A little bit of a drip there. So, I got beautiful new fuel tubing. It's gonna go on, so that's gonna look nice. Run it there, take down loose, make a little bit of a fuel mess. Should be in business. I don't know about y'all, but when I'm putting new fuel tubing on, I like to leave a good bit of space, you know, a little extra, you know, just in case a little down the road you gotta cut the tube off. You got extra so you don't waste the whole tube. I've gotten into using the fuel clips, the little metal ones, the ones you gotta squish. And also I found that the lineman pliers that I've never really used before, they're like the best tool to put those little fuel clips on with. Just, I don't know, they just work right. Also, why is fuel tubing so dang expensive these days? If you guys know why a little piece of rubber or plastic, whatever you want to call this, tubing, I think it's nylon or whatever it is made out of now, why is it so dang expensive? Doesn't make a lot of sense. If you know, put a comment in the block below. It'd be nice to know why all my hard-earned money is getting spent on tubing. This one's a little short, but, well, I'm not gonna say short. It doesn't have the extra length that I like.
Okay.
When putting tubing on, but it was like this piece. It was the extra. Actually, it was like this piece here. It was the little extra piece that I had cut off from tubing prior to this bike, which was probably the last blue bike. Well, actually, no, it was probably the Suzuki T350 that I worked on last. All right, man. New fuel tubing just looks good. Only thing left to do is turn it on. Maybe. Probably don't have enough gas in it. Okay, it's on. Anyways, I think that's gonna do it for this video. I was gonna try to get the bike out on the street, but I'm missing a cover to go here to seal up that that vacuum leak. I just, you know, I'd rather just keep the bike on the lift and, you know, just get everything fixed and then take it out for a test ride. Brakes fixed, everything on, pretty much everything on my list other than that valve. And unfortunately, those are on back order from Common Motors. I haven't been able to find another source for those, so it's not looking good. I might have to jimmy rig some stuff. I might have to look. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I think that's going to do it for this video. If you like these old bikes, the old CBs, you know, the old, I like Hondas. I also like, I like anything, really. I'm not going to lie. So if you like this kind of stuff, like, tag, share, follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you have a project that you're looking to get rid of and you're in Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, hit me up, diydaveb@gmail.com. I'm looking for my next vintage project bike. I still haven't been able to locate one that, you know, one that I really want to work on. So like, tag, share, follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like always, till next time, thanks a lot. I probably should have put the fuel line springs on that I've been saving for a project. It's probably a good idea. This is all my hoarding stuff, if you can't tell. Points, point cover stuff, random, more petcock stuff. And then it's a disease, really. I'm not gonna lie.